Hey guys, welcome to Knockers on the Bottom. I'm your host, Jay Mill, Jay Miller if you like. So just want to give you another quick episode to let you know some of the things pregame that I'll be watching out for today. So my three players on offense I'll be watching. Number one will be Dak Prescott. He just signed his brand new deal. He's the highest paid player. These are the type of games as a Cowboys fan that we tend to judge heavily. It is the first game of the season, so I'm not ready to stamp anything based on 4 quarters of football. I'm not ready to make any bold predictions for the entire season based on that, but I will be watching him pretty closely to see how he plays. Is he playing more relaxed? Is he ready to take that next step and win some of these games against these tough teams? This is a tough defense the Cowboys are playing against, a very tough defense. So we've already seen a lot of those big quarterbacks today kind of have hit or miss results, even though they've signed big extensions. I don't think Dak will be any different throughout the course of the season, but it'll be nice to see how he plays today. So that'll be the number one thing I'm looking out for, seeing where his ball placement is. He's got a tough secondary, a tough linebacking core, and a tough defensive line to go against. So at all three levels, the Browns have playmakers, and I feel like they're going to give the Cowboys a lot of trouble today anyway. I said as much in my breakdown Friday as far as results of the game. I do think it'll be very close. I do think the Cowboys will pull away late. But I do think for the first 3 quarters, it's going to be a very tight, low-scoring affair. And the team that makes the least amount of mistakes is going to be the team that comes out on top. So let's hope the Cowboys and Dak Prescott are on the side of making the least amount of mistakes. The number two thing or player I'll be looking out for, this is more of a collection of players. I'll be looking out for the running game. Against the Cleveland Browns, the Cowboys don't have to run it 40 times or even 30 times in order to win this game, but they do need to keep the Cleveland Browns honest. I said that I thought the Cowboys, one of my bold predictions was that the Cowboys would average 4 yards a carry or better in this game, and I still hold true to that. But in order to do that, they're going to need to be opening up some holes. They're going to need to mix it up. They're going to need to give the Cleveland Browns some eye candy. They're going to need to throw the ball to set up the run. And I expect them to be able to do those things. So that'll be the number two thing that I'm looking out for. If the Cowboys run the ball at least a decently efficient clip, I don't know how the Cleveland Browns, hang in this game. I think that's one of those things that if we see the Cowboys, I said 4 yards to carry. If we see them at 4.3, 4.5, the Cleveland Browns are not going to be able to keep up with the Cowboys because then the play action game is going to be, dangerous for the Cowboys. So I do hope to see the Cowboys run the ball at least decently efficient. The third thing I'll be looking out for on offense, at least, is to see how the wide receiver core stacks up. I know those secondary guys are really, really good. You're talking about the corners. They go at least 3 deep, maybe 4 deep. You talk about the safeties. They definitely go 4 deep. So the Browns not only have top-end talent, but they have some nice depth behind them. So if a guy comes off and takes a breather, you're not necessarily going to get the type of situation where all of a sudden... Sorry about that, guys. Where all of a sudden, just because one of the guys came out, the Cowboys all of a sudden have a huge advantage as far as the depth of the Cleveland Browns. The Browns are also deep, so I want to see how our third, fourth wide receiver, stack up against it. How our tight ends stack up against their linebackers. They got a JOK. He's a pretty fast guy, so I don't know necessarily how well he'll be able to cover Jake Ferguson, but he has the speed and size to do it. So I would like to see how we match up in that scenario. Now, on defense, first thing I'm going to be looking at is Mozzie Smith. Mozzie Smith's going to be my guy that I'm watching. I want to see how he controls those guards, controls that center in the run game, because on the offensive side for the Browns, I do believe Ford has a lot of home run hitting ability. And therefore, he makes the Browns' interior offensive linemen look a little bit better than they might be because they don't have to hold on to those blocks long in order for him to get to and through the hole. So that's going to be Mozzie Smith holding up commanded double teams and allowing our linebackers to fly through and meet them. That's the other group I'm going to be looking out for as well. The linebackers, specifically Eric Kendricks. I'm going to be looking to see how he does. If he's clean and able to fly to the hole, I have no doubts about his ability. I have no doubts about his ability to read, react, follow his keys, make consistent tackles, get the defense lined up correctly. All that stuff he's going to be good at. But if he is not working in concert with the linebackers with the defensive line as far as them commanding double teams and doing the right thing, I don't know how we are going to necessarily be at stopping the run. The third thing I'm going to be looking out for is who the Cowboys want to match up on Amari Cooper. Are they going to do Trayvon Diggs or are they going to do Kalen Carson? I personally have a big fear of Kalen Carson being on Amari Cooper. I also have a big fear of Trayvon Diggs being on Amari Cooper. If you ask me going into this game who I'm the most confident in being on Amari Cooper, it's actually probably going to end up being Jordan Lewis whenever Amari Cooper lines up in the slot, just because I know Jordan Lewis has some great coverage to him and he has some fight to him. So, I'm not saying Trayvon Diggs and Carson don't have any fight, but Carson's a rookie. He hasn't seen the type of route runner that he's going to go up against. There's nobody in college that he saw that runs routes this type of way. There's nobody on the Cowboys he saw that runs routes this type of way. CeeDee Lamb is a pretty good route runner, actually a very good route runner, but he wasn't at training camp the whole time. So I don't know if a few days of practice going against CeeDee Lamb is going to give Kalen Carson the looks he needs. And honestly, a lot of times with corners, the only time they get the looks that they need is in real game situations against a player of his caliber. Jerry Jeudy is going to be, pretty fast in there. And I think Trayvon Diggs will match up perfectly fine against Jerry Jeudy. I actually think if Trayvon Diggs was healthy, he'd match up perfectly fine against Amari Cooper. But this is his first game in, God, the long time. So I am very worried about that matchup. I don't know if the Cowboys, I know Zimmer is going to be playing too deep there. So I do think that the corners will have some help on the outside. And I do think the Browns might try to move Amari Cooper sometimes inside just to, get him away from having that safety help over the top. But I do think that plays into the Cowboys' hands with Jordan Lewis, because I do think Jordan Lewis right now is going to be, your best matchup, your best asset to go against Amari Cooper when he lines up in the slot. So that'll be the three things on offense I'm looking out for. Three things on defense I'm looking out for. I do expect this to be a very close game. Like I said, most of the way, I did pick the Cowboys to win 24-16. I am sticking with that prediction. Cowboys get the season started off right. We'll be interested to see how CeeDee Lamb looks after his rest and time off. It'll be interesting to see if Ezekiel Elliott is Mr. Leadfoot like I've been seeing all training camp long, or if all of a sudden he is looking good. Now, I do think if Ezekiel Elliott looks good, I still don't think I'll be eating any crow anytime soon, because I do expect that his best chance at looking good is early in the season before he gets worn down. So if you are going to get Ezekiel Elliott, the best Ezekiel Elliott you're probably going to get is probably the first 4 to 5 weeks of the season. And then as you go on, maybe some of those other running backs are able to step up. I'm excited to see if Deuce Vaughn gets some change of pace carries today, see if he gets to, make some plays out in the open field. I do believe he is a mismatch. I don't know if he's going to be active today. I didn't take a look at the actives and inactives just yet, but I will, take a look at that, and let's hope that Deuce Vaughn is active. But yeah, that's all I got for you guys today. Thank you for tuning in. This is Knockers on the Bottom pregame show, a little special edition. You can follow me on Twitter at JMillerIYL. That's J Miller if you like. You can also hit me up on Twitter with some questions. If there's anything specific you want me to get into, cover, you can leave that in the comments below. You can hit me up at Twitter. You can also hit me up via email, knockersonthebottom@outlook.com. That's knockersonthebottom@outlook.com. I'll take all your questions. I'll make sure to identify them, answer them the best that I can. But thank you guys for tuning in. Love you so much. Until next time, I'm your host, J Miller if you like. This has been Knockers on the Bottom. Peace.